It's been 30 years since the original PlayStation launched in Japan on the 3rd of December 1994. To celebrate, we invited you, the PlayStation Access community, to vote for your favourite PlayStation games from across 3 decades of unforgettable titles. We've sifted through your responses, mostly nodded in agreement and approval, and are now happy to present the top 30 PlayStation games of all time as voted for by you. In at number 30, it's Grand Theft Auto San Andreas. Originally released for PS2 in October 2004, Rockstar pushed boundaries with an open world containing 3 cities, a story set in 90s California, and a protagonist who could get his hair cut.
Here we go again.
At 29, you voted for Resident Evil 4, Capcom's 2005 survival horror masterpiece that's influenced pretty much every over-the-shoulder action game since. Chainsaw Bag-haired Man still haunts our nightmares nearly 20 years on.
Chainsaw.
Shadow of the Colossus takes the 28th spot, a uniquely haunting, melancholy adventure from visionary game director Fumito Ueda about a boy willing to sacrifice everything, but mostly his grip meter, to save someone he loves. At 27, you've correctly identified Tekken 3 as the greatest fighting game on PlayStation. This 1997 PS1 classic still a lunchtime mainstay in the Access office today. Bagsy Hwarang. Kingdom Hearts 2 makes the list at 26, a high point for the action RPG series, mainly for that bit where Cloud and Squall stand back to back and fight loads of Heartless together.
Might be tough if one more shows up.
At 25, it's Grand Theft Auto 5, the open-world crime epic so enormous and all-conquering, it's still going strong more than 10 years and 2 entire console generations later. You voted Elden Ring as your 24th favourite PlayStation game of all time, proving you're all fans of dying and pain. And, I guess, richly detailed high-fantasy open-world RPGs from the minds of Hidetaka Miyazaki and George R.R. Martin. At 23, Final Fantasy makes its first of many appearances on this list with Final Fantasy IX, a game that looks far better than anything on PS1 has any right to, and with a soundtrack I still put on whenever I fancy a good cry. 22 on our list is Final Fantasy VII Remake, a dazzling reimagining of the Midgar portion of Final Fantasy VII that did the seemingly impossible, fleshed out arguably the most famous RPG cast of all time in a way everyone actually liked. At 21, Leon Kennedy makes his second appearance on this list with Resident Evil 2, the 1998 PS1 masterpiece that revolutionised the survival horror genre and is single-handedly responsible for my intense phobia of boarded-up windows. Into the top 20 now, and Final Fantasy VII Rebirth edges its predecessor by 2 places, this miraculously enormous JRPG winning fans over with its gorgeous world, emotional story, and the fact you can make Barrett wear his sailor suit whenever you want. Sneaking onto the list at 19 is Metal Gear Solid 3 Snake Eater. You could argue Hideo Kojima's jungle-based stealth 'em up is the best Metal Gear of the lot, but to be honest, MGS3 would deserve its spot on this list for the big ladder climb alone. 18th place goes to the hyper-stylish Persona 5, a 2015 release from developer P Studio that's way better than a turn-based JRPG about doing your homework and punching your teachers has any right to be. You voted Marvel's Spider-Man at number 17, Insomniac's characterful, action-packed vision of everyone's favourite web-slinging hero, clearly winning over your hearts as much as it did your eyeballs. No, we're still not over how good it looks hurtling between skyscrapers either. Final Fantasy X takes 16th spot, the series' PS2 debut, and as such, the first Final Fantasy many people ever played. The story of Yuna and her guardians is undoubtedly an enduring one, but Blitzball on its own is good enough for this list as far as I'm concerned. And congratulations, OU of excellent taste, for voting in Skyrim at number 15, an RPG so good it's been released across 3 separate console generations and still feels as exciting and unpredictable as ever. And what a result for Astrobot at number 14, the PS5 platformer deservedly making your list despite only being out for a matter of months. Simply put, this joyful celebration of everything PlayStation belongs in the collection of everyone with a PS5. The inimitable Red Dead Redemption 2 is your 13th favourite PlayStation game of all time, an open world of such outrageous detail you exist in it more than play it. Rockstar's greatest game ever? According to you, yes. At 12, it's The Last of Us Part 2, Naughty Dog's bold follow-up to one of the greatest games ever made. It's challenging, impactful, heartbreaking, and simply unforgettable. Quite frankly, I don't think we'll ever get over it. And narrowly missing out on a top 10 place at number 11 is Ghost of Tsushima, Sucker Punch's sumptuous samurai epic that combines razor-sharp combat, beautiful landscapes, and really cute foxes to dazzling effect. Right, we've reached the business end of the video. It's time to reveal the top 10 PlayStation games of all time as voted for by you. At number 10, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Released on PS4 in 2015, CD Projekt Red's fantasy opus can stake a claim as one of the greatest RPGs ever made. The world is convincing like few others, a bleak, war-torn tapestry of peasants and princes, a place grounded in medieval authenticity, yet interwoven with the supernatural. Geralt stalks through the lot of it with a gravelly stoicism that makes him the perfect RPG protagonist. His interactions with the world and its characters a pleasure to control. There's also a richness of storytelling here that's still the yardstick against which all other RPGs are judged. If something is described as being like The Witcher 3, you know that means quality. Metal Gear Solid takes your number 9 spot. The first Metal Gear game on PlayStation is arguably the most impactful, and so ahead of its time we're still amazed by it today. Everyone knows about the big-ticket stunts, Psycho Mantis moving your controller, looking for Meryl's codec number on the back of the box, so it's sometimes easy to forget how electric the moment-to-moment cat-and-mouse stealth is. Pressing up against a wall, the camera swivelling for a dramatic view of the corridor behind, guards inches away, Snake's breath misting in the cold, the rhythmic soundtrack pulsing away. Nothing else feels like Metal Gear Solid. At number 8, you voted for Horizon Zero Dawn, a game which graced PS4 in 2017 with an open world so ludicrously beautiful I found it difficult to take more than 10 steps without having to stop and stare. Thankfully, everything else was brilliant too. Aloy and her story digging you out of any water graphics-induced reverie as you gradually unravel the mystery of this uniquely brilliant place. The combat was amazing too, delivering on the promise of fierce, reactive, strategic tussles against an army of brilliantly designed machines, all with their own strengths, weaknesses, and penchant for scaring the snot out of you when you're not paying attention. Oh boy. At number 7, it's God of War Ragnarok. It's rare a game delivers on the hype, especially the level of hype surrounding this particular sequel, but somehow Santa Monica Studio delivered. A game of explosive bombast, sprinkled with moments of genuine tenderness, that's as much about hope and humanity as it is punching God's faces off. Kratos' journey from fist with a face on PS2 to a flawed three-dimensional father demigod on PS5 is a narrative miracle. The glint in his eyes and the ruffle of his moustache, now as important as his iconic blades of chaos. The combat still slaps, of course, with boss fights as imaginative and emotionally charged as ever, but incredibly, it's now the story that hits hardest. From one PlayStation icon to another, at number 6, you voted for Nathan Drake's swan song in Uncharted 4: A Thief's End. Incredibly, this game is now over 8 years old, Yet play it today and it still zips along with the same cocksure exuberance of its protagonist, a tumbling spectacle of warmth, character and set-piece splendour. It's pure adventure, a parade of popcorn shootouts in holiday brochure locations, the story unapologetically painted with larger-than-life cinematic gloss. For all its dazzle, it's Uncharted 4's heart that elevates it to greatness, however. Naughty Dog indulging in some introspection, yes, but if any studio and any series has earned it, it's this one. Also, the mud graphics during that convoy chase are amazing, aren't they? And no sooner has Nathan Drake exited stage right than he's back for entry number 5 with Uncharted 2 Among Thieves, a game that honestly felt like it was taking the mick when it hit PS3 in 2009. It was such a step up from what had come before, no one could quite believe what they were seeing. A fight in a collapsing building, a fight on a train that's moving in real time through an actual physical environment. There was a wit, warmth and confidence to Uncharted 2 that made playing it feel like a 5-star luxury, a Hollywood action movie in your hands. Unforgettable. Number 4 is Bloodborne, a From Software game so compelling, so one of a kind and so irresistibly playable that even I like it, a man who hates anything remotely challenging. This is as close as video games get to perfection. The city of Yharnam is this Gormenghastia wonder, a place that begs to be poked and scratched and explored and will greedily swallow you in its murk as you do so. Bloodborne is a horror it's impossible to look away from, a black hole of wonderful weirdness, the likes of which we haven't seen before or since. It's got the best bosses, the best music, the best combat, and lore so rich you could write a PhD on it. At number 3, you voted for Final Fantasy VII, the highest ranked PS1 title on this list and the game credited with making JRPGs a thing in the West. I've often wondered what it is about this particular cast of characters and this setting that resonates so strongly. And I've come to the conclusion Final Fantasy VII is just one of those lightning in a bottle moments. A stroke of magic, often imitated, never bettered. Cloud, Barret, Tifa, Aerith, Sephiroth, Midgar, Shinra, each one as iconic as the last. This is a game fizzing with ideas and creativity that spins from outlandish minigame to gut-wrenching story beat, delivered with a vibrancy and eccentricity the likes of which you just don't see in games anymore. In second place, it's 2018's God of War. Everyone remembers where they were when this was revealed during E3 2016. A new, more serious, more beardy Kratos stepping out of the shadows, ready to hit things with his axe and be a dad. A brave decision from Santa Monica Studio, but judging by its position on this list, and all the sales and critical acclaim, one that handsomely paid off. 2018 God of War became the new benchmark for action games, fusing blistering action and screen-shattering spectacle with heart and soul. Yes, Kratos still punches with the force of a freight train, but now he's in touch with his feelings too, as much a human as he is a divine force of nature. And that bit when he retrieves the Blades of Chaos, I've got goosebumps just thinking about it. Okay, it's time to reveal your pick for the number 1 greatest PlayStation game of all time. The Last of Us. Naughty Dog at their imperious best. This arrived at the tail end of the PS3 generation in 2013, and it's no exaggeration to say video games haven't been the same since. This raw, devastating tale of humanity clinging on in the face of world-ending disaster blew audiences away, Joel and Ellie instantly carving out a place in our hearts as they fought for survival, for themselves, and eventually each other. The Last of Us is an example of gameplay and story working in perfect harmony. The often brutal nature of the player's actions unpacked and picked over as the story unfolds. You feel every shot, every death, every glob of dread as you creep through a room full of terrifying clickers. You have spoken, and it's hard to disagree. The Last of Us is your favourite game from across 30 years of PlayStation. So what do you make of this list? Did your favourite game make the cut? Anything we've missed you think deserves a mention? Let us know in the comments, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and hit subscribe and click the notification bell to make sure you don't miss out on anything from the world of PlayStation. Thanks for watching.
PlayStation